I've been building my own kingdom for everyone to see. It exists to keep me safe from harm, and it's intact to glorify me. Nobody helped me build this up. It was me and me alone. I've appointed myself as the king, and I've given myself the throne. But it turns out I'm no ruler, and I have no control. So I have decided to destroy it all. I'm tearing down the walls, kicking down the doors. Everything inside this kingdom is yours. 'Cause what I've made is worthless, and it cannot stand. Come and breathe some life into my empty, cold, dead hands. Down with the fickle king, away with this fantasy. You are the one I need. Death to the kingdom of me. Death to the kingdom of me. I should probably be frightened. This empire's all I know, but it always does more damage than good. I'm afraid it's gotta go. I know that I can't be trusted, 'cause I'm just a man. And if you hadn't given your life for me, a loser would be all that I am. You know they say just follow your heart. I'm afraid that's a load of trash. Your heart will take you down to deep, dark places where you feel like you'll never come back. So I'm coming out of the dark. This facade is... I woke up feeling like it was time to tighten up. Yeah, I woke up feeling like it might be a good day to give.
That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like. That's what this whole season has felt like. Like Michael Myers is just waiting around the bend to chop our heads off. Oh, shut up, computer, making your random noises. Welcome to the Two Tone Talk by God Pod, episode 134. Tank is the name of the episode. It's time to tank. It's been time to tank, but it's really time now. It's sad, isn't it? It's sad, isn't it? Christmas was 2 days ago. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. And, I will say, this Christmas was probably the Christmas where I've gotten the most Tennessee Titans merchandise ever. Ever. Like, I get something Titans related usually every year, but this year, I mean, I got so much Titans stuff, and I was so happy to open it all. And every time I opened something Titans related, I would just say, man, I wish they were better. Every time I would open a new Tennessee Titans shirt, pajama pants, blanket, wall decor, it would just be like, man, I wish they were better. But you know what? We love the Titans either way, and I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. But this is the time of year where you should be looking at playoff scenarios and, getting excited to make this late season push. But not if you are a fan of the Tennessee Titans. Because if ever it was time to root for this team to lose, this Sunday is it. You need to root. And I get it, dude. I get it. I hate it. I hate knowing that it's best for my team to lose. I hate when it is September or October and people are already talking about tanking. I hate that, okay? But this is different. It's toward the end of December. We've been out of playoff contention mathematically for weeks. And we are going against a team on Sunday that is one of the only teams in the league that is actually ahead of us in draft order. The Jags currently have the 3rd pick in the draft. We currently have the 4th. So this game on Sunday is a pretty big game in terms of April, in terms of the draft. This is a big game on Sunday. No, it's not, nobody's going to tune in or whatever, but this game on Sunday is important for April. And because there are so many terrible teams in the NFL this year, if you win this, I get them backwards because they mean opposite things. If you lose this game, if you're the Titans and you lose, well, you at least move up to 3rd, and the Giants and Patriots, the other teams ahead of you, they play opponents in Week 18 who are probably going to have clinched everything that they need to clinch and might be playing backups. So, you could move up even higher than 3rd if you lose this game. Because the Titans are not going to beat Houston in Week 18 in the Oiler throwbacks. They're not going to beat Houston. I know they beat them once. That's why they're not going to beat them again. Houston is not going to lose to Tennessee twice. Even though they look horrible. Houston does look terrible. But they're not going to lose to Tennessee twice, okay? So, if you lose this game to Jacksonville, I feel pretty good about picking in the top 3 of this draft. And yes, that means that Shedeur Sanders is in play. That means that Cam Ward is in play. That means Travis Hunter is in play. That means trading back and getting a bunch of draft picks is in play. It's all in play. But if you win this game against Jacksonville, if you beat the Jaguars on Sunday, which I'm very worried is going to happen, if you beat Jacksonville on Sunday, get your 4th win of the season, that could drop, it's at least going to drop you to the bottom half of the top 10. And when I think about how bad the Bears are, when I think about how bad the Jets are, when I think about how bad the Saints and the Panthers are, there's a lot of terrible teams that could jump you in this draft order if you end up going to Jacksonville and winning on Sunday. It is imperative that Tennessee loses this game to the Jaguars, and I'm very worried that they're going to beat the Jaguars. We've already lost to the Jaguars once, but man, I don't know. You need to lose this game. You need to lose. I used to think, as recent as a few weeks ago, that it was imperative for the Titans to get some culture wins here late in the year. I talked about it on Monday. After they beat Houston that time, it was like, we're not going to make the playoffs, but if we can get some wins in this easier part of the schedule over Jacksonville, Indianapolis, maybe even Cincinnati, if we can beat some of these teams, we're not going to make the playoffs, but it'll give us some momentum and build some culture around Brian Callahan going into next year. Well, I said this on Monday. The Titans, during the easiest part of their schedule, they have been at their absolute worst. Jaguars, Bengals, Colts, that 3-game stretch to me has been the worst 3-game stretch of the season. At least when we were getting killed by the Bills and the Lions, at least we were playing the Bills and the Lions. At least we were playing some of the best teams in the league when we were getting killed. But over these last 3 weeks, we have been playing the mid Colts, the terrible Jaguars, the mid Bengals, and getting slaughtered by them. Okay? So I used to think, well, let's get some culture wins here at the end of the year. It's worth dropping a couple of spots in the draft to get some culture wins here late in the season. Forget that. Forget that. We are way past culture wins. You want to know why? Because if the Tennessee Titans go in there and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, if they go in there and win, is that going to make, I asked this Monday and I will ask it again, is that going to make anybody feel better? Is anybody, if the Titans go beat Jacksonville on Sunday, is anybody going to walk away from that saying, yay, Callahan's a great coach? Like, is anybody? No. You're still going to feel just as bad about him as you did. Beating Jacksonville is not going to convince anybody of anything. So there's nothing to be gained here. A bunch of these guys are not even going to be back on the team. Now, and the guys that are, I don't think you're really going to build any momentum with them by beating Jacksonville on the road. So you just need to lose this game. And I understand. I have said this so many times on this podcast. The players are never going to go for tanking, okay? We as fans talk about that, but the players work too hard. They put their bodies on the line. They spend time away from their family during this time of year. They're never going to go out there and lose on purpose. Although, last week against Indianapolis, for the first nearly 3 quarters, you could have convinced me that the Titans were intentionally trying to lose. In fact, I would rather just believe the Titans were trying to lose based on how bad they played through 3 quarters. I would rather just believe they played awful on purpose. That would be better for me than to believe they actually were trying and played that bad. But I know the players and the coaches, for that matter, are never going to go for tanking. But if ever there was a time to just pull Jeffrey Simmons out of the game, if ever there was a time to just pull Tony Pollard out, if ever there was a time to just tell Calvin Ridley to rest, this would be the time. Like, come on. Pull the injury report's long. Just rule all of those guys out. Put Jeff on season-ending IR. Put Amani Hooker there with him. Like, tell Peter Skoronski to take an early vacation. Like, just please, can we just lose this game? Goodness gracious. And the tricky part here, the thing that's really tricky for Brian Callahan, though, Brian Callahan needs to find some way to restore confidence. Not just in the fans, but he needs to restore Amy Adams-Strunk confidence in him. So that means Brian Callahan's going to be coaching to win this football game. He's going to be trying to win. He's going to be trying to win this game. And I don't blame him, because these last 3 weeks in particular have been worst case scenario for him. So he's going to be trying, he's got to do something to end this season on a good note. So he's going to be coaching to win. He is in a tricky situation because winning does not help the organization. Winning actually hurts the organization. But yet he needs to try to get a win so that he can say, yay, we got a win. I'm a good coach. Even though, like, it's not going to convince me. It's not going to convince you. But if he can convince, which if Amy Adams-Strunk's going to fall for that, whatever. The big deal for Callahan, though, when it comes to Amy, is going to be week 18 against Houston wearing the Oiler throwbacks next week. That's going to be the big thing. Because if you remember, Amy Adams-Strunk, when she decided to pull the plug on Mike Vrabel, according to that article that came out after Vrabel got fired, she made up her mind the day Tennessee lost to the Texans last season while wearing the Oiler throwbacks. That was enough to break Amy, and I think she decided that day, I'm firing this guy. Well, the Titans are playing the Texans in week 18. They're going to be wearing the Oiler throwbacks. If the Titans get killed in that game, which I think they will, because Houston's got to get some momentum going into the playoffs, so they're probably going to be playing their starters. Like, I'm telling you, I will reiterate, Brian Callahan's job is not safe. at all. The seat is hot. It is hotter than it ever should be for a first-year head coach. And he has nobody to blame but himself and his staff and his team. So it's tricky. Brian Callahan is going to be trying to win these games. He cannot come out and have the team look as bad against Jacksonville as they have these last 3 weeks. He cannot have them come out and get down 30-0 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even if we all know that's for the best, he can't do that because that's just going to show that the team is showing no fight. They do not care about playing for him. They are not motivated to play for him. And so it's a unique situation. Brian Callahan is going to be trying to win these games. And I don't blame him, but we really don't need to win. We really don't need to win these games. As far as players we are just down to nothing here. As far as reasons to tune in, other than just rooting for our own team to lose, we are really I guess I'll be watching the linebackers, Cedric Gray and James Williams, who were quite bad against the Colts last week. I'll be watching them, I guess. Jarvis Brown, all the young guys. Jarvis Brownlee, J.C. Latham. I'd like to see him finish the season strong with a good performance against good edge rushers for Jacksonville. But, I'd like to see Calvin Ridley get over 1,000 yards for the season, sure. That'd be cool. Let's get Ridley over 1,000 yards and then pull him and set him the rest of the season, But ultimately, I don't care. There's nothing Mason Rudolph can show me that would make me care. There's nothing I've seen all I need to see from Jeff and Amani Hooker, these guys that have been here for years. I already know who they are and what they are. Harold Landry, I just don't know if he's going to be back. If Big Sweat's in there, I'd like to see him do some good things. But the main thing I just want to see the team lose. It's an interesting situation. I want to see them lose, but I would also like to see them fight hard for Brian Callahan so that I could have some kind of hope in him as a head coach. So that's a weird situation because it's I know I want to see him lose this game, but I also would like to see some fight for the coach if he's going to be back next season, which I don't know. But I'm just to the point where a couple of weeks ago when they were still mathematically eliminated, I could still get motivated to tune in, see what Will's going to do and whatever. But I just don't care about watching any of the, whatever. I don't care. Just lose the game. And I'll give my prediction on what I think is going to happen at the end here. But first, let's jump through the 32-1 power rankings. And, at this point in the season, this is just sad. Number 32, you already know who number 32 is. That is the New York Giants. And I'm telling you, the Titans are giving them a run for their money. But I still have the Giants as the worst team in the league. But at number 31, just edging them out, it is our guys, the Tennessee Titans at 31. If the Titans and the Giants played each other, I think the Titans might be able to beat them 6-3 or something, but it would be a battle of the worst. And then at number 30, I've got the Jaguars. I've got the Jaguars at 30. So that tells you why this game on Sunday is so important for the draft. Two of the worst teams in the league playing each other. Let's get into the 20s here. Just a bunch of awful teams. Number 29, the Raiders. The Raiders are terrible. They are absolute, on most years, and this is interesting because the NFL product currently is not very good. They're killing the NBA and the ratings and everything, but the product, did you watch these games the last couple of days on Christmas Day and then yesterday? These games are terrible. There are some awful teams in this league this year. 29, the Raiders. Terrible. 28, the Bears. They've lost 10 games in a row. Caleb Williams looks like he already wants to retire. Awful. They are terrible. Number 27, the Patriots. Awful. They got some hope in Drake May going forward, but as a whole, they are terrible. Number 26, the Cleveland Browns. Terrible. On any given year, the Browns would normally be, this Browns team would be the worst team in the league on most years. But on this particular year, there's 6 teams worse than them. Number 25, the Saints. The Saints are awful. Did you watch them Monday night against the Packers? They are atrocious. Number 24, the Jets. They're 4-11. Terrible, but they're still better than 8 other teams because there's that much terrible football happening right now. Do you know how bad the Titans have to be one of the worst teams in the league this year? Look at these teams here. Jets, Saints, Browns, Patriots, Bears, Raiders, Jags. They're awful. There is some terrible teams in the league, and still the Titans are the worst of the worst. Them and the Giants. Number 23, the Cardinals. What a disastrous season for the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't know what they're going to do with Kyler Murray. What do you think? Kyler Murray's on a massive contract. Who's going to take that on? What's Arizona going to do? Number 22, the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are 4-11, but they're still better than most of these teams because of the simple fact that they're trying. Number 21, the Colts. The Colts are about as mid as it gets. But the drop-off from them to the rest of these teams is pretty substantial. Like, the Colts are very mid, but they are absolutely better than every other team I have listed below them here by a good margin. Let's go to the other side of the screen with number 20, which is the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are still in the top 20, and they're one of the most disappointing teams in the league this year. What are the 49ers going to do with Brock Purdy? I think they're going to sign him to a big deal, but who knows? Would Titans fans, would you want Brock Purdy if he were available? Number 19, the Dallas Cowboys. Playing with a backup quarterback most of the season. They're not very good at all, but they're still better than all these other teams. Number 18, the Dolphins. They're fine. They're okay. Number 17, the Houston Texans. Just a bunch of frauds, dude. Houston's a bunch of frauds. If Tennessee or Jacksonville were worth a crap, if Indianapolis was anything better than mid, this AFC South was there for the taking for any of those teams because Houston is fraudulent. They are fraudulent. CJ Stroud, I had a feeling he would regress. I didn't think it would be this bad. Houston's terrible. They are winning the AFC South by default. Number 16, the Falcons. They had Michael Penix in there, but they played the Giants. They beat the Giants. We'll see what Penix is made of. I think Monday night they play Commanders on Monday Night Football. Number 15, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this is the lowest the Steelers have been ranked in a while, but we're seeing the Steelers as they start to play tougher competition, the Ravens, the Chiefs. The Steelers have really come down to earth. And, the thing is, when you look at the AFC and the 7 teams that are going to get in, I mean, it's just awful. Like, the Texans are not good. The Steelers are not very good. The Broncos are an easy out. The Chargers are aight. I mean, so you literally have 3 teams in the AFC that could make it. The Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. Number 14, the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks are whatever. They're a heck of a lot better than all these other teams that I've listed. But, I mean, they're just kind of there. Number 13, the Broncos. The Broncos are going to make the playoffs, and they're going to get put out in the first round. Bo Nix is good, but, I mean, it just feels like they're making the playoffs by default. Number 12, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Still feels a little high for them because they did lose to a bad Dallas team on Sunday night. But, I mean, Tampa Bay, I still feel like just because of Baker and Mike Evans, I feel like they are probably still up there. Number 11, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 7-8, and I think they're the 11th best team in the league. Right now, if they could have just got a couple more wins early in the year, the Bengals would be a dangerous playoff team. And they're not mathematically eliminated. The Bengals could still get in, but they need a lot of help. The Bengals are probably not making the playoffs, and that's a shame for them because I think they would have been dangerous had they gotten in. Let's get to the top 10. I mean, even the top 10 is just not very inspiring to me. Number 10, the Chargers. I put the Chargers here just because I feel like, you can usually – but the Chargers just got mauled by Tampa Bay just a couple of weeks ago, but they came back, got a big win over Denver. Chargers are fine. They're not Super Bowl contenders. There's only about 2 or 3 of those this year. Number 9, I went with the Rams. The Rams have been winning ugly, but they've been winning, and it looks like they are poised to win the NFC West when all is said and done. And they've got the experience of Stafford and and McVay, but I don't see the Rams as a Super Bowl team. I think they could sneak a win in the playoffs, but that's about it. Number 8, as we continue on the list, the Washington Commanders. I think the Commanders, Jaden Daniels obviously has just been a rookie sensation. I hope he doesn't fall into the same trap that C.J. Stroud has, which is you cannot live up to your first year because it was so great. So you come back the next year and it just falls apart. But the Commanders, they could get them a win in the playoffs, but I don't see the Commanders as a Super Bowl threat. Number 7, the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are always a Super Bowl threat. And I hate to even have them this low on the list because what are they, 15-1? Like, they're just unbelievable. But at the end of the day, the 6 teams I put ahead of them, I feel like if they played the Chiefs right now, they would beat them. But when all that is said and done, I don't blame you if you're picking the Chiefs to win it all. Because if they get in there, they're going to have a first-round bye, so they're automatically going to the divisional round. It's going to be interesting with another game to go. Do you rest the starters, take 2 weeks off, whatever? It must be nice to be able to have that conversation surrounding your team. But the Chiefs at 7, and they're definitely a Super Bowl threat. Number 6, the Vikings. I think the Vikings would beat the Chiefs right now if they played head-to-head, but I don't think the Vikings have a chance of making the Super Bowl. Because the Packers, the Lions, the Eagles, at the end of the day, don't fault me for trusting Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Jalen Hurts more than I trust Sam Darnold. And I don't want the Titans to pay him $100 million. Let's get to the top 5. The Packers are playing good football. Jordan Love playing well. They're a well-oiled machine. Matt LaFleur's a good coach. I think the Packers have an outside shot of making the Super Bowl. Number 4, the Eagles. If Jalen Hurts can get healthy, which I think he will, he's going to set out this week. But the Eagles are going to win that division, and I think with Jalen Hurts back in there, the Eagles could make the Super Bowl. Number 3, the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens are good. Ravens are good, and obviously Derrick Henry's playing really well. Lamar, all this debate about the MVP, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, I could not care less. I don't care who wins the MVP, but I will say I remember 2003. I'm aging myself here. 2003, they gave co-MVPs to Steve McNair and Peyton Manning. Just do that. Give it to both of them. Who cares? World peace. Ravens are at 3. Number 2, the Lions. Lions got back on track with a win over the Bears. They've got injuries. We'll see if they can overcome. And then at number 1, I just still went with the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Lions last week. Bills didn't look great this week against New England, but they got the win. And the Bills, I think I'll still they're the most reliable. I'll put them as the best team in the league. I will end the episode here shortly with my prediction for Titans Jaguars. Let me make some picks in these other games first. Last night was a stinker. Seahawks, Bears, what an awful game. Chargers, Patriots, give me the Chargers. Some of these are just going to be easy. Chargers over the Patriots. I don't have any reservations about that. Broncos, Bengals. Hey, this is a big game. This is a really big game. If the Bengals can beat the Broncos, get within a game of them, then you get to Week 18, and the Bengals have a legitimate path to make the playoffs. And in Week 18, the Broncos are playing the Chiefs, who are probably going to be resting their starters. And the Bengals in Week 18 are playing the Steelers, who I absolutely think they could beat. So that's something to watch. And everybody be giving your predictions in the comments. I think the Bengals are going to beat the Broncos. I think the Bengals are going to beat the Broncos on Sunday. And I think that you're going to go into Week 18 and the Bengals are going to have a legitimate chance. Cardinals, Rams, give me the Rams. The Cardinals are just a mess. The Rams are winning. It's not pretty, but they're winning. Jets, Bills, dear God, give me the Bills. Easily. No reservations about that. Give me the Bills. Panthers, Bucks, must win for Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay will get the win. I think Carolina will give them trouble. I think it'll come down to the wire, but I got Tampa Bay winning that game over the Panthers. Panthers put up a resilient effort as they usually do. and then the Bucks pull away at the end. Raiders Saints. I mean, this could be a pretty important game draft wise. Saints are 5-10. Raiders are 3-12. I think the Saints get the win. I mean, the Raiders are just, they're so bad. And for some reason, the Raiders are favored to win this game, I guess because the Saints just got destroyed. But, I mean, this is in New Orleans, and the Raiders are favored to win. That's baffling to me. I got the Saints. Cowboys, Eagles. Give me the Eagles. Even though it will be Kenny Pickett. You know what? I'll go with the Cowboys. I'll go with the Cowboys because there's got to be an upset somewhere. I'll go with the Cowboys. Kenny Pickett getting the start for Philadelphia. Eagles kind of already, well, they haven't clinched their division, but they pretty much have. I got the Eagles losing to the Cowboys. Why not? Colts, Giants. Give me the Colts. The Giants are just so bad. And I would love to see the Giants win for draft purposes, but I think the Colts have got this one. And the Colts are mathematically eliminated, yes. Dolphins, Browns. This would be a game where if you're Tennessee, you're probably rooting for the Browns, but I think the Dolphins get the win. I think the Dolphins just got too much firepower for the Browns. These are just depressing games, dude. So many of these games just completely devoid of any meaning at all. Packers, Vikings, this is not one of them. Packers, Vikings, this should be good. I'm going to go with the Packers in this game. I just think the Vikings are due a loss. The Packers are playing good football. It's in Minnesota. I understand that, but I'm going with the Packers. Sunday night, I said Monday night earlier. Sunday night, Falcons, Commanders. I'm going to go Commanders. It's in Washington. Michael Penix's second start ever on the road against a good Washington defense. That's going to be tough. I'll go with the Commanders to beat the Falcons. And then Monday night, this was a game that you would have thought going into the season would be a big one. Lions, 49ers on Monday Night Football. Again, going into the season, you would have thought that's going to be a big game. But it's not. I'm going with the Lions to beat the 49ers. It's in San Francisco. Who cares? I got the Lions. This is a rematch of the NFC title game, right? My, how times have changed. I got the Lions. And last but not least, Titans, Jaguars. The Titans need to lose. They need to lose in a bad way. I feel like they're not going to lose. I think the Titans are going to win. And I hate that. I hate that. But I feel like the Titans are going to win. I think you have to keep in mind the Jaguars are also terrible. I do think Mac Jones has been playing pretty well for Jacksonville. But I just think that it's going to be like a 13-10 boring snooze fest of a game where Mason Rudolph dunks, and, probably you get one touchdown, and it's the lamest touchdown ever, like a QB sneak or something for Rudolph. I mean, and here's the thing. Mason Rudolph is a backup quarterback. He's not going to do anything special. But I do feel like the Titans would have beaten the Jaguars the first time if Mason Rudolph had been in there. Because I think Rudolph would have seen Chigakonkwo standing wide open in the end zone for an easy touchdown. Will Levis did not. We talked a lot about that on the podcast when it happened. I think Mason Rudolph would have beaten the Jags the first time. And I think the Titans are going to win. And I don't say that with any pleasure. I don't say that with any glee or joy. I think the Titans are going to win this game. It's going to be ugly. They're going to win a low-scoring, close game. And it's going to make us all angry because we're going to probably fall to 6 or 7 in the draft order, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is, depending on who you want in the draft. But I think the Titans win. I think the Titans will get a win on Sunday. But we'll see. I'll be back on Monday to talk about whatever happens. I appreciate everybody joining me today for the Two Tone Talk by God pod, where we stay way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. And be sure to go like and subscribe to the Two Tone Talk YouTube channel. It's been a great year for the channel. Appreciate everybody's support. And I will see you on Monday. Staying way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. Tighten up. Bye, everybody.
I've been building